Imagine walking into a world where the stones are taller than mountains, a world where shadows of the past still whisper secrets in the wind. In this journey, you will witness lost civilizations, forgotten rulers, curses that defy science, and monuments so perfect they should not exist. This is not just history, this is the unseen story of mankind, and it begins right now. For thousands of years, people believed the earth was young, simple, untouched. But hidden ruins tell a different story, a story of nations that rose from dust and built wonders far beyond their time. Science still struggles to explain how they did it, and why so much knowledge vanished. And one question has remained for centuries. Who gave birth to the very first nation, and what power guided their hands? The world was once a blank canvas, untouched by cities, untouched by kings, untouched by history. But then, something began to change. Small groups of people came together. They built fires, they told stories, they planted seeds in the ground. From those seeds came food. From food came villages. From villages came tribes. And from tribes came the first nations. No one remembers their names, no one knows their faces, but their works still stand in silence. They were builders, dreamers, and guardians of secrets we cannot fully unlock. It is said that long before the pyramids, long before empires, long before great kings wrote their names on stone, there were ancient people who shaped the earth. They carved mountains into temples. They moved stones heavier than any machine today can lift. They drew lines across deserts so vast that only the eyes of the sky could see them. And yet, their stories were lost. Their nations were swallowed by time. Only the ruins remain, watching us, reminding us that history is far older than we once believed. But how did a simple tribe become a nation? How did they rise from mud and stone huts to monuments that still shock the world? The answer lies in mystery. Some say it began with faith. They looked at the sky, at the sun that gave them life, at the stars that never changed, and they believed gods walked among them. To honor those gods, they built shrines. To remember their stories, they carved symbols. To show their power, they built bigger and bigger monuments, until entire cities rose from the dust. Others say it was not gods. It was knowledge. Knowledge not from this earth. Knowledge carried by wanderers, or by something far beyond the human race. Because how else could they know the movement of stars? How else could they cut stones so perfectly that even a razor blade cannot fit between them? The birth of a nation was not just the birth of people, it was the birth of mystery. Imagine the first city rising on the banks of a river, its walls built from stones dragged across deserts, its streets filled with chants to the sky. At night, firelight glowed against the walls. Shadows danced. Priests spoke of the heavens, and people believed they were part of something greater than life itself. But with birth comes struggle. Every nation faced storms. Every city faced hunger. Every temple faced enemies. And many vanished into silence. Their ruins became bones in the earth, bones that we dig up thousands of years later. We find pottery, strange carvings, skeletons buried with gold. And we ask ourselves, how did they live? How did they dream? How did they know so much? From Mesopotamia to the Nile, from the Indus to the Andes, nations were born again and again. Each one claimed to be the first. Each one claimed the gods chose them. Each one left behind mysteries that still break the limits of science today. Some nations built towers that reached the clouds. Others dug tunnels beneath the ground. Some carved entire mountains into temples. Others aligned their monuments perfectly with the stars. Was it coincidence? Or was there a hidden hand guiding them? Something, or someone, showing them the path. The birth of a nation is not just history. It is the beginning of questions without answers. Because every stone, every ruin, every broken wall, whispers the same thing. We were here before you, and we knew things you have forgotten. As the first nations rose, the leaders were not just kings. They were seen as gods. Their voices shaped laws, their hands directed armies, their visions ordered monuments that outlived their people. And when these nations fell, the monuments remained. Like ghosts, they survived. Watching, waiting, silent reminders of the birth of something greater than time. Even now, when explorers walk among the ruins of forgotten nations, they feel it. The silence, the weight of history pressing against the air. The sense that these stones were not placed by weak hands. But here's the greatest mystery. Science still does not know how the first nations did it. We can guess. We can imagine. But the truth hides in stone. Unbroken, unshaken, untold. Some say the first nations had lost technology, machines and tools that were erased from history. Others say they had help from the stars, visitors who gave them the power to move mountains. And some believe it was human genius at its peak, a genius we have never reached again. Whatever the truth, the birth of a nation was the birth of mystery. It was the beginning of a story that still lives today. A story of pride, of faith, of gods and rulers, of dreams written in stone. And as long as the ruins remain, the story will never die. Because these nations, though lost to time, still speak to us. They whisper in the wind. They call from the shadows. And they ask the same question again and again. They say every nation is born, and every nation dies. But what happens when an entire civilization disappears without a trace? Ruins stand in silence, broken walls, scattered stones, empty streets that once carried voices of thousands. Yet no one knows why they vanished. Were they destroyed by war? Swallowed by the earth? Or did something else erase them? History calls them lost civilizations, but their stories are far from lost. They survive in ruins, in strange objects, and in mysteries science still cannot solve. Take Atlantis, the city of legend, a powerful nation, with knowledge greater than all others, said to have sunk into the sea in a single day and night. For centuries, people searched for it. Some claim it never existed, others say the ocean still hides it. But what makes Atlantis powerful is not just a story. It is the possibility that such a place once thrived, and that it was erased from history on purpose. Then there's Mohenjo-Daro, the city of the Indus. Streets perfectly planned, houses with their own drainage systems, wells built with skill so advanced, modern engineers admire them even today. And yet, the people vanished. The city was abandoned. Skeletons were found in the streets, lying as if something struck them down in a single moment. Some scientists say it was disease. Others whisper about ancient weapons of terrible power, a force that left behind shadows of people burned into the stone. And what of Easter Island? A lonely land in the Pacific, filled with giant statues staring at the sea. How did its people, with no machines, no wheels, no metal, move stones weighing more than 70 tons? Legends say the statues walked into place, carried by magic. Science says ropes and manpower. But the real question remains, why build them at all? Why shape the land into a place of silent watchers? What message were they trying to leave behind? Every lost civilization leaves behind the same riddle. The Mayans, masters of time. They built calendars so precise, they could predict eclipses centuries ahead. They raised great temples aligned with the stars, and carved stories of gods who came from the heavens. But one day, their cities were abandoned. The jungle swallowed them whole. Why? No one knows. War, drought, or something far stranger. The temples remain, but the voices of the Mayans are gone. In South America, the city of Tiwanaku sits high in the Andes. Stones carved with laser-like precision, blocks weighing hundreds of tons, fitted so perfectly without mortar that even an earthquake cannot move them. This was no ordinary village. This was a nation with power beyond its age. And yet, it fell into silence. Who built it? And where did their knowledge go? Some believe these civilizations did not simply fall. They were erased. Erased by disasters, erased by wars, erased by forces we still cannot understand. But the ruins remain, and the ruins do not lie. Think of the Olmecs of Central America. They left behind giant stone heads, with faces unlike their own. Broad features, different from the local people. Were they portraits of gods? Or of strangers from far away? Some believe the Olmecs met travelers across the sea. Others believe they met visitors not from this earth. The pattern repeats, civilization after civilization. They rise with greatness, they fall into silence, and they leave behind ruins that challenge everything we know. And here's the greatest mystery. Many of these lost civilizations, separated by oceans, built the same kind of monuments. Pyramids. Everywhere. In Egypt, in Sudan, in Central America, in China, even in the middle of the ocean. Why did people who never met build the same shapes? Were they guided by the stars? Or by something that connected them across the world? Some say these were not nations working alone. They were part of a global knowledge, a hidden brotherhood of builders who shared secrets across the earth. Others say it was no brotherhood. It was a higher power, a hand from the heavens, giving knowledge in pieces to different nations. The deeper we look, the less sense it makes. How could simple farmers and hunters move stones heavier than airplanes? How could they design cities aligned perfectly with the equinox? How could they disappear and leave no clear trace of where they went? Science answers with theories, but not with certainty. Archaeologists say war. Historians say famine. Geologists say disaster. But in every ruin, there is something more. A silence that feels heavy. A mystery that feels alive. Some explorers believe lost civilizations still wait to be found. Cities hidden under the Amazon, swallowed by the forest. Ruins deep under the sea, where sunlight has never touched. Tunnels below deserts, carrying secrets the earth itself has tried to hide. The lost civilizations are not just the past. They are the present. Because with every discovery, new questions are born. And with every ruin, science is reminded that it does not have all the answers. Imagine standing in a lost city at night, the moonlight touching broken walls, the air filled with whispers of people who vanished centuries ago. Their lives, their dreams, their voices, gone. But the stones remain. The monuments remain. And the questions remain. Who were they? Where did they go? And what knowledge did they take with them? Lost civilizations are not just stories of the past. They are warnings for the future. Because if entire nations can vanish into silence, so can we. And if their secrets can be erased from the earth, then maybe our own will one day be forgotten too. But perhaps that is the true mystery. Not that they were lost, but that they wanted to be lost. Maybe they left ruins behind on purpose, a puzzle for us to solve. A message written in stone, waiting for us to understand. And the message is clear. We were not the first. We will not be the last. And the truth is still hidden. Across the earth, scattered on mountains, deserts, and valleys, stand giants. Not giants of flesh and blood, but giants of stone. Silent, cold, unshaken by centuries of wind and rain. These monuments were not built for days or years. They were built for eternity. And even today, they still rise against the sky as if daring us to explain their secrets. The Pyramids of Egypt. For thousands of years, they have watched the Nile, watched kings rise and fall, watched nations live and die. Each block weighs tons, each stone placed with such accuracy that even a razor cannot slide between them. Yet the builders had no machines, no cranes, no modern tools. How did they do it? Science says manpower. Tens of thousands of workers, dragging stones with ropes and logs. But some stones weigh more than 80 tons. How can simple ropes and wood carry such weight? How can stones be lifted to such great heights? And why are the pyramids aligned perfectly with the stars? The Great Pyramid is not just a tomb. It is a riddle carved in stone. Its base is aligned almost exactly with true north. Its sides match the golden ratio. Its height multiplied by 1,000 equals the distance from the earth to the sun. Coincidence, or knowledge far beyond its time? Travel to England, and you will find Stonehenge. Giant stones placed in a perfect circle. Some transported from miles away. No one knows why they were built. A calendar for the stars. A temple for gods. Or a portal for something beyond. The stones stand in silence, and the mystery grows deeper with every century. In South America lies Puma Punku. Blocks of stone were cut with such precision that even modern diamond tools would struggle to match them. Some weigh over 100 tons. They are shaped with sharp angles, perfect holes, and smooth surfaces. And yet, no writing, no story, no memory remains of the builders. Just silent giants, too perfect to be explained by chance. Everywhere we look, we find these giants of stone. The statues of Easter Island, the Moai. Tall figures with long faces, carved and carried by people with no machines. How did they move them? How did they stand them upright? The islanders say the statues walked. Did they mean by faith, or by something else? Even in Asia, the mystery repeats. The Kailasa temple in India, carved from a single mountain of rock. Not built stone by stone, but cut directly from solid rock. An entire temple, carved from the top down. How long would it take? Modern engineers say centuries, but ancient records suggest it was finished in a fraction of that time. Impossible, unless they had knowledge we no longer have. The giants of stone are more than monuments. They are messages. They whisper from the past, telling us that the builders knew more than we believe. Some say giants themselves once walked the earth. Not of stone, but of flesh. Bones larger than human bones have been found. Skulls taller than a man's chest. Legends of giants exist across the world. In the Bible. In Greek myths. In Native American stories. Everywhere, giants. Did they build the monuments? Did humans build them for giants? Or were both humans and giants working together? Others say the builders were guided by the stars. Every giant of stone seems to point upward. Pyramids aligned with Orion's belt. Stonehenge aligned with the solstice. Mayan temples aligned with Venus. Why this obsession with the sky? Were they mapping the heavens, or sending signals to something beyond the heavens? Science gives theories, but the silence of the stones gives us questions. Imagine standing before the Great Pyramid at night. The moon shines on its peak. The desert wind carries whispers through the sand. And you realize you are looking at something that has survived for over 4,000 years. Something that has outlived every king, every empire, every nation. Something that might outlive us too. The giants of stone do not belong to one people, one nation, one race. They belong to all of humanity. But the truth is, we still do not understand them. Why build monuments so large, so strong, so permanent? Why move stones that no human should be able to move? Why carve symbols into them that still confuse us today? The answer may never come. But perhaps that is the point. Perhaps the builders wanted us to wonder. Perhaps the giants of stone were not just monuments, but puzzles. Puzzles designed to last forever, so that every future generation would ask the same question. Who built them, and why? The story of humanity is not just the story of blood and kings, it is the story of stone. Because stone does not lie. Stone remembers. And stone whispers, long after voices are gone. As the camera lingers on the ruins, the narrator's voice fades into silence, leaving only the sound of the wind and the towering shadow of the giants of stone. Silent, unbroken, waiting for us to understand. From the beginning of time, humans have looked upward, to the stars, to the sun, to the moon. The sky was not just a ceiling of light. It was a map, a mystery, a place where gods lived, where secrets waited. But the more we study the past, the stranger the sky becomes. Because ancient people did not just look at the heavens. They carved them into stone. They aligned their cities with them. They built monuments that matched the stars above. Why? Why did civilizations who never met, across oceans and continents, create the same sky mysteries? Take the Nazca lines of Peru. Gigantic drawings carved into the desert floor. Animals, shapes, endless lines stretching across miles. So large, they can only be seen from the sky. But the Nazca had no airplanes, no balloons, no way to see their own creations from above. So why did they build them? Were they messages for the gods? Were they runways for visitors from the heavens? Or maps we still do not understand? Look at the Mayans, masters of the stars. Their calendars predicted eclipses and planetary movements with precision. Their temples aligned with Venus, the moon, and the solstice sun. Why such obsession with the heavens? Did they only worship the sky, or were they tracking something in it? In Egypt, the Great Pyramids aligned perfectly with Orion's belt. 3 stars, 3 pyramids. Not just close, but exact. Why build monuments on earth to mirror the heavens? Were the pyramids tombs for kings? Or gateways, meant to reflect the stars themselves? In ancient Mesopotamia, the Sumerians wrote stories of gods who came from the sky. They called them the Anunnaki, beings who brought knowledge, who shaped mankind. Myth or memory? Were these gods only imagination, or were they visitors recorded in the only way ancient humans knew how? The mysteries grow deeper. Across Asia, petroglyphs show strange flying objects carved into stone. Round shapes with trails of fire. Figures wearing what look like helmets. Were they symbols of the sun, or memories of something far stranger? Science says these are myths. But every culture shares the same myth. Stories of gods from the sky. Stories of fire chariots. Stories of visitors who came down and gave knowledge to mankind. Coincidence? Or connection? Consider the Dogon people of Africa. For centuries, they told stories of a star called Sirius B. Invisible to the naked eye. So small and dense, that only modern telescopes discovered it in the 20th century. Yet the Dogon knew it thousands of years earlier. How? How could they know something science only proved recently? Who told them? Look further, and the sky grows darker. The book of Ezekiel describes a wheel of fire in the heavens. The Mahabharata speaks of flying machines called Vimanas. Native Americans tell of sky beings who descended in bright light. Different lands, different times, same stories. Were these only myths to explain the unknown? Or were they fragments of the same truth, recorded in different voices? Imagine the night sky thousands of years ago. No city lights, no airplanes, just the stars, bright and endless. To ancient people, the sky was alive. Every movement was a sign, every star a message. But some of those messages still confuse us today. Why does the layout of Teotihuacan in Mexico mirror the movement of planets? Why are the temples of Angkor in Cambodia arranged to copy the constellation of Draco? Why did so many civilizations spend lifetimes building perfect mirrors of the stars on Earth? Were they trying to honor the heavens? Or were they trying to call something down from them? Some believe ancient people feared the sky. Others believe they worshipped it. But perhaps they remembered something. Perhaps they knew the sky was not empty. The mysteries of the heavens remain unsolved. Science gives explanations, but not always answers. The Nazca lines, maybe for rituals. The Mayan calendars, maybe for farming. The pyramids, maybe just tombs. But the alignment is too perfect. The scale is too grand. The story is too consistent across the world. If it is all coincidence, then it is the greatest coincidence in history. The ancient sky mysteries are not just about stars and planets. They are about us, about our beginnings, about the possibility that humans were never alone. Because if every civilization looked to the stars, if every nation told stories of beings from the sky, if every ruin points upward, then maybe the truth is simple. Maybe the heavens were not far away. Maybe the heavens came down to earth. As the camera rises above ancient ruins, the stars shimmer in the night. The narrator's voice fades into silence, leaving a single question lingering in the air. Were the ancients only watching the stars, or were the stars watching them? History remembers kings and temples, but it also remembers whispers of powers too dark to explain. Curses that killed explorers, strange forces that defied reason, legends of secrets guarded by death itself. These are not just stories. They are shadows that followed nations, and they remind us that knowledge can be dangerous. The most famous curse is the curse of the pharaohs. When the tomb of Tutankhamun was opened in 1922, the world gasped at the treasures inside. But soon, strange deaths followed. Lord Carnarvon, the sponsor of the dig, died suddenly of an infection. Others connected to the discovery also fell to mysterious illnesses. Newspapers called it a curse. Was it only coincidence? Or was something inside the tomb protecting its secrets? The ancient Egyptians believed their kings carried divine power even in death. They wrote warnings on tomb walls. Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the pharaoh. Did they truly hold power beyond life? Or was it a trick of nature? Poisons, bacteria, traps? Science explains some, but not all. The fear of the curse remains. In Mesopotamia, tablets tell of kings who called down storms and fire from the sky. Were these only metaphors, or memories of ancient weapons? Texts describe weapons of brilliance, light so bright it blinded armies, heat so fierce it turned cities to ash. Powers that should not exist in the ancient world, but the stories are there. And then, there are the stories of forgotten words, incantations, symbols carved into stone, priests who spoke to the gods, and brought blessings or death. Were these curses, or was it knowledge of forces we no longer understand? Imagine a world where sound itself could destroy, where words carved on stone could summon power, where secrets were not just written, they were alive. Even today, strange events haunt ancient places. In some temples, compasses spin wildly. In others, shadows seem to move where no light falls. Tourists faint without reason. Cameras fail to work. Are these tricks of nature, or traces of forgotten powers? Legends speak of relics that carried curses. The Ark of the Covenant, said to hold the power of God. Those who touched it were struck dead. It leveled walls. It blinded armies. Was it myth, or a weapon beyond our understanding? The crystal skulls of Central America, carved with impossible precision, are said to bring visions, sickness, or death. Science struggles to explain their origin. Were they ceremonial? Or did they hold knowledge of forces we cannot see? Across the world, powers are remembered in whispers. Powers that kill intruders. Powers that protect secrets. Powers that turn history into legend. But what if these were not just myths? What if ancient civilizations understood forces of nature in ways we have forgotten? Magnetism, electricity, radiation, all invisible, all deadly if misused. What if their curses were warnings about science, wrapped in sacred words? Still, some stories are harder to explain. Entire expeditions vanished searching for lost treasures. Ships sank after taking sacred statues. Families fell into ruin after stealing relics. Coincidence or punishment? The birth of nations came with glory, but their fall may have been tied to powers they could not control. Perhaps they touched forces beyond their reach. Perhaps their knowledge destroyed them. And perhaps their curses were not just revenge, but protection. Protection of secrets too dangerous to reveal. Even now, archaeologists step carefully when entering tombs. They wear masks. They prepare for toxins. But deep down, many still wonder, what if the ancients left more than just traps? What if they left power? Power hidden in stone, in symbols, in silence. The idea of forgotten powers is not fantasy. We still do not know how the pyramids were lit. No soot from torches is found inside. Some believe they had a form of ancient electricity. Others believe they used natural forces of the earth itself. If so, what else did they know? Lost scrolls speak of fire that fell from the sky. Cities turned to dust in a single night. Walls melted as if by heat greater than fire. Are these exaggerations? Or are they evidence of powers we no longer understand? History teaches us one truth. Every great civilization kept secrets. Secrets guarded by priests. Secrets guarded by kings. Secrets guarded by curses. And when those nations fell, the secrets were buried with them. But ruins do not stay silent forever. Every time we open a tomb, every time we uncover a hidden temple, we take a step closer to those secrets. And with each step, we wonder, are we ready for what we might find? Because curses are not just legends. They are warnings. And forgotten powers may not stay forgotten forever. As the camera moves through dark tombs and broken temples, the narrator's voice falls to a whisper. What if the ancients did not just build monuments? What if they built weapons? And what if those weapons still sleep beneath the earth, waiting to wake again? Beneath the earth, in the dark where sunlight never reaches, lie secrets untouched for centuries. Civilizations did not only build upward toward the sky, they also dug downward. They carved tunnels, chambers, and entire underground cities. Why? What were they hiding? What were they protecting? In Turkey lies Derinkuy, a vast underground city, stretching levels deep into the earth. Houses, wells, storage rooms, even ventilation shafts. It could hide tens of thousands of people. But who built it? Why live in darkness when the land above was free? Some say it was to escape invaders. Others say it was to escape something far stranger, something that came from the sky. Derinkuy is not alone. Across Cappadocia, tunnels and cities are linked by underground passages, a hidden world beneath the soil. No one knows how old they are. No one knows who first carved them. But they remain, a silent reminder that some secrets were meant to be hidden. In Egypt, rumors tell of chambers beneath the Great Sphinx. Legends call it the Hall of Records, a library of knowledge left by the ancients. Explorers claim to have found sealed doors, strange echoes, hidden shafts. But the truth remains buried. If the chambers exist, what do they hold? Ancient scrolls, lost technology, or warnings we are not ready to read? South America tells the same story. The caves of Ecuador are said to contain metal books, pages of gold filled with writing unknown to mankind. A library of a forgotten race. When a few explorers claimed to have seen them, they spoke of symbols unlike any language. But soon, the caves were sealed. The treasures vanished. Were they hidden again on purpose? Or did someone take them? The earth itself holds mysteries below. Caves filled with strange lights. Tunnels that stretch for miles without end. Symbols carved deep in darkness, far from human eyes. Why carve in the dark? Who were they writing to? Legends speak of subterranean worlds. Entire civilizations living below the ground. From Native American stories of the Ant people to Tibetan myths of Shambhala, the idea repeats across cultures. A hidden world, a second Earth, below our feet. Is it myth or memory? Some explorers tell of hearing strange sounds in caves. Low hums, echoes like machines, rumbling as if something still moves beneath the earth. Science explains some as natural, the shifting of rocks, the movement of water. But not all. Some sounds remain unexplained. What if the earth is not empty, but alive? What if ancient people built underground not just for safety, but because they knew something was waiting below? Even in modern times, strange discoveries appear. In China, caves filled with perfectly rounded metal pipes, deep inside mountains. How could they be there? Who placed them? And why? Scientists debate. Some call them natural formations. Others whisper of forgotten technology. In the Andes, tunnels stretch for hundreds of miles, linking ancient temples together. Some are so smooth, they look as if cut with machines. Yet no records of them exist. No builders are remembered. It is as if the earth itself opened for them, then closed again. Beneath the earth, we find more than stone. We find bones, skeletons larger than human, skulls with strange shapes, remains that do not fit in the story of mankind. Were they ancient species, or something else, buried so deep we were never meant to find them? Caves hide mysteries not just of the past, but of the unknown. Strange lights that glow in the dark, figures that vanish when followed, whispers that echo with no speaker. Are they tricks of the mind, or proof of something still alive down there? Every ancient nation had myths of the underworld, a place beneath us, a place of spirits, of gods, of powers not meant for humans. Maybe these were not just spiritual ideas. Maybe they were memories of real places, real tunnels, real cities. And here lies the question. If secrets remain beneath the earth, are we ready to uncover them? Every dig reveals something new. Every tunnel opened leads to more questions. What if the greatest secret of mankind is not in the stars, but in the ground we walk on? The earth does not give up its mysteries easily. It hides them in stone, in silence, in darkness. But it also tempts us. It leaves doors half open. It leaves whispers behind. It makes us wonder, and search, and dig. And maybe that is the danger. Because what is buried may have been buried for a reason. Some doors are not meant to be opened. Some secrets are not meant to be revealed. But humans cannot stop. We dig. We search. We hunger for the truth. And someday, we may find it. A chamber untouched. A hall of records unsealed. A secret so great, it changes everything we believe. But until then, we walk above the earth, while mysteries lie below. Silent, waiting, patient. The camera drifts into darkness. The sound of dripping water echoes in a cave, and the narrator's final words of this part linger. What if the greatest secrets of history are not lost in the sky, but buried in the earth beneath our feet? The story of mankind is written in ruins, in stone, in whispers left across the earth. But no matter how much we uncover, no matter how much we study, one truth remains. The questions are greater than the answers. From the birth of nations, to lost civilizations, from giants of stone, to mysteries in the sky, from curses and forgotten powers, to secrets buried beneath the earth, the pattern repeats. Greatness rises, mysteries grow, and then silence falls. But silence does not erase the questions. Who built the first nations, and where did their knowledge come from? How did lost civilizations vanish without a trace, leaving behind monuments too perfect to be explained? Why did people across the world build the same shapes, the same pyramids, the same star maps, without ever meeting? And why do the ruins whisper the same story, as if all of humanity shares one forgotten memory? Science offers theories. Floods, droughts, wars, simple tools used with great effort. But theories are not answers. And the stones do not agree. Because the stones are too precise, the alignments too exact, the myths too similar. It is as if the past is trying to speak to us. As if the ruins are not just monuments, but messages. Messages carved for the future. For us. But what are they saying? Are they warnings? Are they instructions? Or are they proof? Proof that we are not the first. Proof that knowledge far greater than ours once walked the earth. The unanswered questions are not just about the past. They are about the present and the future. If civilizations could rise so high, and fall so suddenly. What does that mean for us? If nations with secrets so great could vanish into silence, could the same happen again? Are we, like them, only a chapter in a larger story? Perhaps the ancients tried to tell us, through their monuments, through their myths, through their mysteries, but we do not yet understand the language. Some say the answers lie in the stars. Others say they lie beneath the earth. Some believe the answers are hidden in forgotten texts, waiting to be found. And others believe, we already know the answers, we just fear to accept them. The unanswered questions press against us like shadows. They follow us into every excavation, every discovery, every photograph of a ruin that defies logic. And with each step, the mystery deepens. Because if we cannot explain the past, how can we understand the future? Imagine a moment thousands of years from now. Imagine ruins of our own cities. Skyscrapers half buried in sand. Streets broken. Monuments silent. What would people of the future ask about us? Would they call us advanced or primitive? Would they wonder if we too had powers they could not explain? Would they whisper that we were guided by something greater, just as we whisper about those who came before us? The unanswered questions remind us of one truth. We are not as wise as we believe. We are still children, staring at monuments we cannot explain, still searching for the beginning of a story that may never end. And maybe that is the point. Maybe the questions are the true legacy of the ancients. Maybe they wanted us to wonder, to question, to look deeper, because in asking, we are forced to see beyond ourselves. The pyramids, the Nazca lines, Stonehenge, underground cities, cursed tombs. Every mystery pushes us closer to the edge of truth. And perhaps, someday, the answers will come. But until then, the questions remain. Were we alone, or guided? Were the ancients human, or something more? Were their monuments for gods, or for us? Were their powers lost, or simply hidden? The narrator's voice slows, softer now, almost a whisper. Every stone tells a story, but not the whole story. Every ruin holds a truth, but not the full truth. And every mystery hides an answer, but only for those who dare to seek it. The camera rises above the earth. Ruins fade into deserts, jungles, oceans. Stars begin to shine above. The planet spins slowly in silence. And then the final words fall, heavy with mystery. Maybe the greatest mystery of all is not what we have found, but what still waits to be discovered.